Hello, good morning, beautiful Hollywood. As Ann mentioned, my name is Mariana Garcia. I am one of the founding members. I've been with Coffee Cult since its inception, I would like to say. Like Ann mentioned, I did graduate Leadership Hollywood 40XL. Where are my classmates? Are there any here? Woo!
35! 35!
40! Well, Coffee Cult is a specialty grade coffee roaster located in Hollywood, Florida. We roast the top 5% of coffees in the world, including our top 2 blends, dark roast and medium roast. And single origin coffees such as Costa Rican, honey wash microlots, Honduran, and I can't forget my favorite, pea berry. With our continued growth, I'm happy to announce in public for the first time, we will be opening a new roasting facility in downtown Hollywood. Yay! It was very important to our co-founder that since we started in Hollywood, that we should continue to grow in Hollywood. Aww. We will be open to the public with a retail front and that overlooks our production area. So you will be able to drink a cup of coffee while watching the roasting process.
Nice.
We also placed a bag of our dark roast on each table. It was freshly roasted this week, ground yesterday. I put a Coffee Cult sticker under one chair on each table. So the lucky winner will be able to take that bag of coffee home.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Got it. Oh, art.
Next time we're going to make coffee.
And the madness begins.
What does the sticker look like? What does the sticker look like? Right there.
A big Coffee Cult sticker like the one on my shirt.
You have it?
Yes. You can't miss it. There you go, sir.
Wait, let me see. Let me get one.
Those of you sitting at empty tables are lucky.
I highly recommend it. Come on, sit in this chair and look at this chair.
All right. And I just would like to add that Jamie Martis really wanted to be here, but as Ann mentioned, one of our youngest roasters, Lucas Martis, has been chosen to receive an award from the Broward County Science Fair, where he did a project on how roasting profiles affect the acidity in coffee. So I wanted me to let you guys know that, and I hope everybody enjoyed the coffee and have a wonderful day.
It's great to be here again this year with you, and especially in Miss Aycock's school here, middle school, you know, in these walls of learning, and it brings to mind of a scrawny 12-year-old who had his bicycle stolen. And he wound up going to a local cop, Joe Martin, to report it. And Joe saw all the anger, frustration, this little boy, and he taught him how to box. And the rest is the American history of Muhammad Ali, right? And so Joe Martin was a Louisville police officer who moonlighted as a boxing coach at one of the only interracial boxing gyms in the country. He was a pioneer in the civil rights movement at a time in our country, 1950s, where segregation was at its height. And as Muhammad Ali's widow said, wonderful things can happen when a cop stops to listen to an inner city kid. And so it reminds me here being at the middle school that at its core, policing, it's about community service. It's about making communities and cities stronger and working in partnerships with all our partners. And so I'm here to give you a snapshot quickly of some of the accomplishments that we've been able to do in this past year. So, as you know, violent crime is up all across the country and has been steadily on the incline since 2013, and we were no exception to that. But for the second year in a row, we had double-digit crime reduction numbers in violent crime, thanks in large part to the staff and their efforts, and Chief O'Brien, who's here, who led many initiatives to control violent crime in the city. As you see, overall Part 1 crime is down 5% in the city. And most notably, we see the 60% decrease reduction in burglaries, home and business burglaries, from almost 2,000 in 2012 to 778. Remarkable accomplishments to these crimes where it's so personable, violating people's home. With the robbery, you see what I was talking about in 2013 and 2014 with the rise. 2015, we also started out the year with a 4% increase in violent crime, and until we put in our proactive initiatives, we then wound up the year with a reduction, even though halfway through the year we were on an increase. Some more statistics that you might find interesting. We had a record-breaking 220,000 calls for service this year, and an increase in officer self-initiated productivity of 48%. This is on top of last year's 38% increase in officer productivity. What does that tell us? That tells us that the officers are still motivated, they're going out there and doing proactive policing initiatives. And as a result of that, our arrests went up 25%. We seized over 400 guns on the street, right? This is a 47% increase from 2014. So the streets are getting more violent, as you can see by the amount of officers assaulted, which increased 39% this year on top of last year's 33%. So the officers are at a higher danger than ever before, but they're doing actually more work than in the previous years. Our crime scene continues to advance with technology, and you see with the advent of DNA, we use it more and more, and as they're increasing, you saw 114% the amount of DNA cases they processed, and which resulted in a 65% increase of people being identified, suspects being identified from the previous year. Forget anything here? Auto theft arrests. The two areas of Part 1 crimes that we did not have a reduction in was auto theft burglaries and grand theft autos. And we've done a lot with our CCTV cameras. If you notice on North Beach, where we've been plagued for many decades with vehicle burglaries, we finished our CCTV LPR project on North Beach. Since its completion, it has resulted in a 21% decrease in vehicle burglaries in that area, and we've been able to catch a lot of suspects utilizing that. We built an intelligence center where we're monitoring these cameras inside the PD, but also as we acquire more CCTV and license plate readers, we see an increase, 55% in stolen vehicle arrests this year. We had a 44% increase last year, and hopefully next year we'll have even more as we bring online downtown and US 1 with our camera system, which has historically been some of our hot spots. Some of the highlighted cases that I want to point out, during this summer we had a rash of burglaries and tented houses by a prolific burglar. Our detectives worked really hard conducting surveillance with our road patrol officers, and we were able to apprehend the suspect. The detective's hard work led to a search warrant of his residence, which led to evidence indicating that he had a storage locker. A search warrant of the storage locker also uncovered over $300,000 worth of stolen property that he had. And for the first time ever, we wound up with an indictment of 81 counts and a RICO charge against not only the suspect, but his living girlfriend for her having knowledge of all these crimes. So our collaboration with the judges is important to send a strong message of a deterrence to these criminals, that if you come to Hollywood, we're going to charge you with the full extent of the law, right? Sort of like we did with some of the reckless drivers on MLK Day. Did anyone see that story? Thank you. Thank you. So, the traffic unit, Sergeant Swihart did a great job with that, holding them accountable. Our domestic violence initiative, which we started 18 months ago, Offender-Focused Domestic Violence Initiative, is an award-winning initiative. Since its inception, we've seen a 22% reduction in domestic violence. We were averaging 5,000 domestic violence incidents a year, and as you see, this past year, 2016, we were able to reduce it by almost 1,000, right? So focused deterrence on the suspect, holding them accountable for their actions and letting them know what the result is going to be if they continue with this misbehavior. We've partnered with Women in Distress in order to provide better services, so we provided a place at RPD for them to provide services to the women that are victimized. And so this will help provide better services to the women in Hollywood for that. If that wasn't enough, the Detective Bureau decided to do a pilot program of dating violence, and they initiated at South Broward High School. And so they did peer-on-peer, they did with the football teams and so forth, and we'll be expanding this to other high schools in the coming years. Hollywood keeps being sought after by other departments as a model in policing, and so the sergeant that initiated this program in Hollywood was asked to speak at the International Chiefs of Police Conference, would have 15,000 attendees of police leaders from around the world this past October. And we have also trained departments in Florida as far north as the Panhandle. They have come down for 3 days of training to duplicate our domestic violence initiative. For organized crime, there are 3 cases I want to highlight in the many drug arrests that we've made. One of them was a massage parlor initiative, which we targeted 26 locations throughout the city, wound up with 22 arrests. Homeland Security, we were able to convince them to come out with this, and they're pending federal charges on a number of them. We've been able to close down 2 of them and hope that some of these other businesses clean up their act. Operation Royal Flush was an operation where it stemmed from a local investigation to a drug dealer. As the investigation continued, we found out that they had ties to a Maryland-based organization. They were distributing, it was part of a distribution network of heroin, cocaine, and marijuana on the East Coast. Maryland DEA had a long investigation process in there. We went up and met with them, and the result was that we wound up seizing many properties in South Florida that Maryland didn't know that some of our suspects had, 12 of them in Hollywood alone. The suspects have then turned over $4.6 million worth of property, which we'll get asset sharing for that. And right away they wound up depositing into our accounts $100,000 from cash proceeds that they seized in the operation. Operation Compound Diversion was a large-scale Medicare fraud targeting military veterans, and that pharmacy here, Post Hayes in Hollywood, wound up being the subject of a Department of Defense investigation, and so far $1.6 million from their assets have been returned to Veterans Affairs. With regard to the epidemic that we're having with deaths, overdose deaths, we have 51 in Hollywood. Hollywood's not alone. We have 620 in the county. And nationally, I think in 2016, we broke the mark of 50,000 people dying with overdose deaths. We've partnered with some of our partners, Memorial Hospital and Kindred, and Raylan Story from our public affairs has been key as we roll out prevention and intervention programs here in the city of Hollywood. We've also partnered with the United Way of Broward County to get the message out that it's so dangerous now with the fentanyl and carfentanil being shipped as synthetic drugs from China that it's really killing people at astounding, alarming rates. Some of our preventive technology, this year, in 2016, we rolled out P2C, Police to Citizens, to make it very simple through the internet for our customers to access police reports. We understand the trauma of being victimized, and we don't want to encourage that anymore by them having to go to the station to pick up police reports. Not only can you download police reports there, but you can see a lot of the daily arrests and stats of the police department at your fingertips. As I mentioned, North Beach and Downtown US 1 CCTV LPR projects. Major Jeffries is in charge of all these projects, and he's here. Crime View Dashboard is a crime mapping tool that we're rolling out this year to the officers to make it more easier for them to pinpoint hotspots in the areas. And Blue Team is part of our internal affairs management software that will make it more accountable and more transparent, tracking uses of force, police-involved accidents, and so forth online for our detectives so everybody sees what's going on and it's entered quickly. Again, we've partnered with a lot of our local businesses also, encouraging them to utilize this type of technology in order to help reduce crime. For youth programs, you see we're very involved. Major Marino spearheads all our youth programs, and he's been doing a great job, and we just keep to keep adding and adding. Over 1,800 kids at middle schools and elementary schools were taught the great curriculum, gang resistance education and training. The SROs at those schools are required to teach that curriculum to all 5th and 7th grade levels. We have over 30 police mentors that are mentoring at-risk kids at the elementary schools. We started a cops reading program, and with assistance and spearheading of Vice Mayor Colari and Major Marino, they've instituted last year the Youth Ambassador Program. We were able to give out a lot of toys. Over 300 kids received toys this year thanks to all the efforts of contributions and the assistance from Walmart and many of our other partners. For those of you that are not familiar with our breakdown, we have 20 zones, and Chief O'Brien and Major Strauss did a great job this last year, even honing down and holding people more accountable and putting them in permanent zones, not only our patrol sections, but developing problem-solving teams. Our NTLs, neighborhood team leaders, that you see the names here, our downtown unit and our beach unit, which we've doubled in the last 18 months, are all instrumental in being in touch with the community, addressing problems that are going on in the community, and working in partnership with all the other city services that are required. I saw Shiv come in, so thank you, Shiv. We worked with him in permitting, licensing, and addressing some of the concerns we have with businesses that are not practicing good business models. And to wrap up, please follow us on our social media. Miranda Grossman is our PIO officer here, and she's been doing a great job promoting some of the stuff we're doing on social media. We ask you to get involved in our police department, as we continue to learn and apply excellent business management practices and principles in order to improve what we do, all in an effort to have a world-class business that just happens to be public safety. So thank you for your time.